This is a guy that lives in Wuhan. He states they were aware of there was a major they called a flu outbreak back in September, and they said, oh, it's just because of the season. Then in November there was a problem. They knew they had a problem. In December there was a problem, and they covered it up. Anyway, this guy explains it.
Kelly, somewhere in September there was an outbreak of pneumonia, but we were told it is just one of those things because we are transitioning into the winter starting from November. So that was just by the passing. And then in November, there was a major pneumonia outbreak. That is when people actually became aware that there was an outbreak of an epidemic in Wuhan. But then also the thing was concealed. So around the Christmas time, that was 24, 25, 26, it became very difficult because now people were aware that there was an epidemic. So we started moving only with people we trusted, even when we are taking taxis. Then from 1st, 2nd January, that was when the news started getting weight that there was indeed an epidemic, but we didn't know it was that deadly.
Now, while we're on the talking about whether we can trust what the Chinese government is telling us, there has been talk that the actual numbers of confirmed cases of coronavirus is actually much higher than the Chinese authorities are letting on. From your own experience, do you think that actually might be the case?
So, Mark, generally the agreement or the consensus in Wuhan is that the numbers are far being underreported. And that is the reason why, especially we, the international students, are quite more getting hopeless and worried, because we know the case is worse than is being reported. Yeah, and we have some of our people who are medical students, and they have professors who are medical doctors and working at the front line. So sometimes they tell them their challenges they are facing, that there are people who even die of the coronavirus, but they are told to say the person had an existing health condition like diabetes or hypertension or TB. So that was what really killed the person. So there's even this reported allegation, let me use the word allegation, that some of the doctors were saying if the politicians or the communist leaders are now the people assigning the cause of death, then they might as well also get into the treatment rooms to treat the people. So we know the cases of infection are quite higher because there are more hospitals in Wuhan and they are overwhelmed. There are more than 10 hospitals, you can confirm. They are overwhelmed and they have bedding capacity of more than 10,000, but 2 new hospitals needed to be built. So this should tell us the gravity or the intensity of the epidemic or the outbreak. So those of us in Wuhan, we know the death rate and the incidence rate are quite higher than is being reported.
And finally, I'd just like to ask you 2 questions in one, because unfortunately we are running out of time. You are from an African country, won't say which one. Are there any plans by your country to evacuate you? And what about your family at home? They must be dreadfully concerned. Have you been able to stay in touch with them?
Yeah, so Mark, I would like to start with my family. So my family, indeed, they are really concerned. They are worried, and my grandmother's BP is even going high because of the situation here, and this reflects the situation of other families with their relatives here. So I've been in touch with our embassy, and our embassy has categorically said that there are no plans to evacuate us because they don't want to offend the Chinese authorities. Because the Chinese authorities have told them they are in control. They are able to deal or manage the situation. So we should just stay put and adhere to the preventive measures. So at the moment, there are no plans to evacuate us, even though we want to go home.
Okay, well, it must be awful. That's where we're going to have to leave it, though, unfortunately. Thanks for agreeing to share your story. We know it isn't easy to do so in China, especially at this time. We'll stay in touch. Stay healthy, please, and hopefully you'll get to go home safe and sound. Thank you very much. That was a PhD student.
Now, I know, like, it's bad, definitely bad, and I don't know. I mean, the Chinese news was outside the new hospitals. They were bringing a couple of patients or whatever, and by ambulance behind. You couldn't see the patients or anything. But the ambulance, the hospital stuff, and you know, obviously they couldn't go in there. They're in total gear and all that and stuff. But they're spraying down vehicles after they come out. They're spraying them down, all of them, with a chemical, whatever, to kill. I mean, so this is way worse because they wouldn't waste their time doing that, or just as a precautionary, you know. But they're spraying down vehicles and everything. I mean, it's bad. I've heard of bodies being burnt and stuff, but I can't report that. I can't say that for sure. There's no evidence of it as far as I haven't seen any footage of that. But yeah, it's pretty bad, man. I mean, it's extremely bad. It's really bad. It's not pretty bad. It's really bad. This is nothing to mess around with. And what's sad, it bothers me, is simple. Is the U.S. government could have come out weeks ago and said, you know, a special alert, whatever. Just come out and say, listen, you know, everybody, if you're not aware, China's facing, you know, a flu outbreak, coronavirus strain, and we want to get ahead of it. We want to get ahead of it by educating everybody. What we're trying to do is, if for some reason it is to travel here and get here, we want everybody to be prepared as best as possible. And by being prepared is to take action now. If people show up with it, hopefully we can prevent the spread of it. This thing has a latency of an average of 14 days. You can become infected and you can spread it. Be asymmetric, spread this thing, and not show the symptoms of being sick. So that's horrible on its own. But the cases that we're starting to see, the 11 or whatever the numbers are here in the United States currently, February 3rd, 2020, is 11 and or so, it doesn't. So, and they're lying about the numbers. They are lying about that we know. But let's just say the cases are 11. I mean, these people are just being diagnosed with being sick. What about the last 2 weeks? The last week? The 3 days prior to them being diagnosed? How many people did they come in contact? What did they cough on something? Touch that somebody else? This thing, in 2 weeks, is going to be an unbelievable number of people infected. If and or as it mutates, I don't even know. I heard about up to 5 days that it can live outside the body, meaning if you come in contact with it within 5 days and touch your eyes or your mouth or whatever, you know, you could, you know, obviously you can get sick. But if it's staying alive 28 days outside the body, I don't know. I don't know what to say. Sorry about this video. I'm overtired. I need some sleep. But I wish everybody the best of luck. Thoughts and prayers goes out to everybody, YouTubers, all you guys.